What's up, you handsome looking bastards? It's your boy Mark, and today we're going to talk about one of the most generic things that people talk about when it comes to motivation and military stuff, and it's how important suffering is for your life. I'm sure you've probably heard about how amazing suffering is, like it's sliced bread. It really is. And especially in the context of, say, motivation and inspiration, or anyone who ever listens to military stuff, a lot of times you hear how vital it is. And as a matter of fact, it's such a common thing, it actually goes back a long time to this idea that all of life is suffering. But that's not what this whole video is about. It's not to say that life is this miserable ball of unending pain and tragedy. That's not what I'm here to talk about it at all. I'm here to talk about why it's actually more than that. To start it off, point one, and it's that suffering is important because it connects all of us. The thing about suffering is it allows us to connect with other people because in some way or another, we have all experienced pain and discomfort and tragedy in some way. And I, as a 38-year-old guy, and for anyone else, including yourself, if you're in your mid to late 30s, or if you're even in your later 20s, I'm sure you've experienced at least one or two very heartbreaking and deep forms of pain, if not at least a handful of little medium level forms of pain and suffering in the course of your life. The reason why that is because life just presents us with certain challenges that we need to overcome and have to face and deal with, whether it's tragedies in our families, personal tragedies within our own personal lives, or just tragedies on a global or worldwide scale. So you're gonna see and experience it some way or another. And what it does, it allows us to connect to each other, and besides just being able to connect with one another, it actually helps us to kind of be inspired and to be able to look at another human being and go, you know, I am going through this particular experience right now, but I see that person X or person Y has gone through a similar experience and can probably show me that they're gonna be fine because they've survived that particular experience, and I can probably do the same. While what I am experiencing in this moment, or what you're experiencing in the moment, is probably really sucky, odds are you can probably manage. A very simple example of that is my daughter. If she skins her knee, and she does because she's a kid, she's 5, and odds are she's gonna keep falling and scraping her knees. There's gonna be blood, there's gonna be a little bit of scrapage, there's gonna be some torn skin, she's gonna cry, it's gonna be miserable, and it's gonna feel like her entire world in the moment. When I get down on one knee and tell her it's gonna be okay, and then kind of patch her up and get her moving again, while it may take some time for her to internalize a lot of that lesson and to finally remember, hey, it's not that big of a deal, and then eventually as she gets older, she's gonna go and bump her knees or scrape her legs and not be a big of a deal as much as it used to the first few times. While it may take some time for that all to sink in, at least she gets the perspective and the example of what I have given her and what I've shared with her, because I've gone through it enough times as well. And we experience these things on a micro and macro level with the challenges and the hurt that we experience on a day-to-day level. Another thing about pain and suffering and challenge is that, yes, as a matter of fact, it does teach us to overcome pain now in the moment and makes us stronger. That is probably the most common thing that people harp on when it comes to pain, is that it does teach us these important things. But that's because oftentimes the challenges and the pains that we experience are uniquely ours. Yes, there are a lot of things that are common, like scraped knees, car accidents, maybe a kinked neck, things like that. There are certain challenges, like, for example, the pain of losing a loved one, or the pain of being caught in the throes of addiction and the challenges that come with that. While those are probably going to be uniquely yours or mine as we endure them, and the lessons that we glean from them and the challenges that come with those moments of suffering are uniquely ours. Because for whatever reason, maybe we didn't have the ability to cope with them. And we have to then learn how to deal with all of that misery and pain and discomfort as it occurs. And so it forces us to have to look at how we got here, what we need to do to get out of it, and the things that we have to work on while we're in the midst of it to actually get out the other side and be well. Now, another thing that I've come to realize when it comes to pain, especially in this context, in the whole like badass military guy, motivation and inspiration world, is that you should not be okay with constant, unrelenting, persistent, abject misery. So if you're living in a state of constant, abject misery, you probably are not paying attention to the fact that it's trying to teach you something. That pain may actually be telling you that you put yourself in a position where you were experiencing these things, whether it's decisions in your life, decisions in your habits, or maybe even the decisions of people around you that have put you in a place where you're experiencing some level of discomfort that is grating and constant and persistent that you need to find a solution out of. And there are two ways to approach this. It's either you need to find a way out, so you need to have the self-awareness to work your way out of that situation and understand why it is and how it is that you ended up there, or you can be completely ignorant and completely lack the awareness to know what is happening and just be caught in the throes of that pain and that suffering and probably just stumble your way through life, which in itself is a lesson for you to consider, in that, oh, I'm just kind of constantly being tossed around by life and I never really pay attention to what it is that causes me these particular levels of discomfort. And so it's important that you actually pay attention to why it is that you're hurting. Another bonus tip, if you want to take it into consideration, the more that you put yourself in an environment where you shy away from the lessons that pain can teach you, where you don't accept that pain is actually a valuable teacher, the more that you're going to find yourself in places of comfort, and the harder and more miserable it is going to be when you find yourself ultimately falling out of comfort and deep into discomfort, because you'll never have created the ability or developed the ability, the strength, the stamina to be able to withstand it or find the way to cope with and work your way out of pain. And so it's actually very important that you not get trapped in this idea of constant comfort and convenience, and actually find ways to allow a sort of metered amount, a controlled amount of pain into your life so that you can learn some very valuable lessons. Anyway, I hope that this has been helpful to you. If you know somebody who is caught in the throes of pain, if you know someone who is constantly seeking comfort and is afraid of any amount of discomfort and abject misery, maybe this is a video that you should present to them. Maybe they can find some value in this video as well. Otherwise, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments, questions, suggestions, concerns whatsoever, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. And if you like this video and you want to see more videos just like this, go ahead and subscribe so that you can follow me and happen to find or see any more of the videos that I post in the future. Again, all the videos that I post on here are generally lessons that I've learned and I want to share, because I would have wanted for the opportunity to learn a lot of these lessons, and they are lessons that I'm discovering for myself, and lessons oftentimes that I'm discovering are available from either people that I follow or people that I've yet to discover. And there is a commonality in all of the understanding that we've come to develop over time, because we as human beings tend to share a lot of the same experiences and ultimately come to a lot of the same conclusions. And so I'm hoping that this can come across and it can be helpful to you. Anyway, It's your boy Mark. Thank you so much for joining me. I'll see you again next time. Peace out.